Hi Disney friends! Today I want to share with you my tips and tricks on how to use the Disney MaxPass. For those of you who are not familiar, the MaxPass is the newest addition to the FastPass family. It's a replacement to the FastPass paper passes that you are used to when you go to the Disneyland Resort. So now they have everything available on your mobile device, and you're able to link your tickets and select your FastPasses on your phone. There are tons of blogs and videos out there on how to use the MaxPass and more information on what the MaxPass is all about. So if you just search that in YouTube, you'll find tons of information. So today on this video, I just want to talk about some tips and tricks that I discovered on my last visit to Disneyland that will hopefully help make your MaxPass experience better. And I also wanted to just talk to you a little bit more about whether the MaxPass is the right fit for you and your family, and if it makes financial sense for you to get them. So first, let's start with my top 5 tips, and I've got them written down on my phone, so if you see me looking down or grabbing my phone, that's why, so I appreciate the patience there. So the first is to link your tickets. It's really important that you link all of your tickets with everybody that you're traveling with on your mobile device. So if you purchase your tickets all together on your mobile device, they will automatically come up as linked. But if you are traveling with your family, you have larger families that are traveling together, or potentially people that have purchased their tickets on their own, it's really important that you link them. And I'll walk you through the screenshots on how to do that. It's pretty easy. So I'll insert a clip of how to link that together now for you. You just click on the top plus button, take a picture of the paper ticket or the mobile device scan, and then they should link them all together. So the advantage of linking them all together allows you and your party to have one person select the next fast passes for you. So everyone will show up in the party together, and you can remove those that do not want to partake on that particular ride. So if you don't link your passes, you run the risk of everybody having to pull their phones out and see what's available for the next FastPass ride. And for some people, it may not be available, and for others it might, and you're just kind of, you spend a lot more time trying to coordinate than it's really worth it. So my first tip is to make sure that you're linking your passes together, and that allows you to really quickly select or deselect those that do not want to be on the ride. And that allows everyone to kind of be on the same schedule throughout the days, which I think is a lot more helpful. So tip number 2 is to ensure that you have your mobile device ready to go as soon as you go into the park. So my first advice is the second you get past the turnstile gates at Disneyland or California Adventure, that you have one person have the app up and running, ready to go to select your first FastPass experience. You can get your tickets from the second that you walk in the gates, so if you're there for early morning experience, you'll also be able to have that as well. So one thing to note is that it does know when you've scanned people in through the turnstile. So you do need to wait till the last person in your party has gone through the turnstile if you want them to all be a part of one FastPass experience. So for instance, if you have a family of 5, you will need to wait till that 5th person scans at the FastPass and goes through the turnstile before you can make your FastPass selection. But I do think that the sooner the better it is for you when you get into the gate to start to select your FastPass experiences. So tip number 3 is to try to get after your long wait experiences first. So for instance, if you're in California Adventure, Radiator Springs tends to be one of the longest wait times, either on standby or even for the FastPass. So I do recommend that you get in the park and you try to grab as many long wait experiences as possible. So what that does is it does make your wait time a lot longer for your next Fast Pass. And so your next Fast Pass availability depends on the length of time that you have till your next ride. So if, for instance, Radiator Springs is 2 hours from the time that you selected your Fast Pass, then you will be able to get another Fast Pass 90 minutes out. But I still think it's worth it, because what I've seen and what my experience is that those Fast Passes for those rides end up dragging out throughout the day. And if it's 8 a.m. you may end up not getting the Fast Pass for Radiator Springs until 10 or 11 at night. So it could just be a really, really long wait time for you. So I still think it's worth your while to get the Radiator Springs ride that's 2 hours out. Hit up all the rides where you're comfortable on standby, especially if you're there early in the morning and there's not as many wait times. Another fun tip that I have is to go to the back of the park and move your way forward, and try not to spend too much time in the front of the park, because those are the rides that are going to fill up the fastest in the mornings, because most people will stop there first. So if you're in California Adventure, for example, I would run all the way to the pier, get as much stuff done right before the pier opens, and then you should be set to go to hit up Radiator Springs at that 2 hour mark. Then 90 minutes later, you will have your Fast Pass experience. After you get all your waits for your long rides done, then I think the best suggestion I would have for you is to get the short rides done and quickly over with. So for instance, if Ariel's Grotto is a 30-minute wait, you can literally scan your pass in 30 minutes, and the second you scan your pass, you have another pass available. So you could be waiting in line to get into your clamshell at Ariel's Grotto and already be selecting your next Fast Pass. So after you've gotten the long rides out, or the ones that you care about the most, I then would say move on to your short passes, and you can get quick hits in really, really quickly, because the wait times just depend on the length of time till your next Fast Pass. So I know that's a little complicated. It took me a minute to figure it out as well, but just take my advice, go for the long wait rides, and then get as many as you can done in after that with the short experience rides. So tip number 4. My tip number 4 is the time frame. I'm going to show you a screenshot and try to put it into the picture at the bottom of the screen that shows you where to see the time for your next ride. I went half a day on my first day of using this MaxPass without even noticing that it was there, and this was a lifesaver for me. So before I noticed the timestamp that I could come back to redeem my next Fast Pass, I was guessing or trying to figure out, was it once an hour like the old Fast Pass system, or was it something totally different? And I was constantly checking back to try to understand it. And I think that I missed sort of my first half-day experience in the parks this trip because of that. So as soon as I found that tiny little gray print that shows you when your next Fast Pass is available, that completely changed everything for me. So I knew that I could come back at a particular time. I just mentally knew it and checked my phone for those times, and I knew that I could then make my next selection. So if you stay on top of making your own selections, I think you can stay very well. I think you can make a lot of good use of your Fast Pass experience if you stay up on the times, and this little hint shows you where to find the time for your next Fast Pass. So hopefully you don't fall into the same trap I fell into. My last and most, I think, exciting tip is don't forget to take advantage of the pictures that come along with your Fast Pass. So you are able to now download and use a photo pass on your mobile device. So that means that anytime you see a photographer throughout the park, whether that's in front of the castle or any other attraction, you can have them take a picture of you, scan your phone, and those pictures automatically show up on your mobile device. Also, most of the big rides that have pictures as a part of them also allow you to snap the picture and add it to your phone so that you can later distribute that how you would via any sort of social media. So for instance, on Space Mountain, you can, at the end of Space Mountain, they have the pictures to show you, your Space Mountain photo. it has a little code at the bottom, and you use that code to put into your mobile device and then have that picture downloaded onto your MaxPass. From there, you can download it onto your phone, share it via any social media, or email it or text it to anybody that you care to share it to. One tip that I have for you is to take a picture of the picture on the screen with the code. So the codes are a little bit longer than I could remember, so it was a lot easier for me to take a picture of them, and then when I had downtime when I was in the park, maybe eating food or just taking a rest, I was able to add that code into my mobile device and then have those pictures ready and available for me. So that's a fun tip, just to make sure that you get that code, because you will need that code to be able to reference it onto your mobile device. But take advantage of those pictures because they are so fun and you can share them, and they really help for you to remember your experience without having to have your phone or your camera out all the time. So I hope those 5 tips were helpful for you. They're just some short little things that I wish I knew when I was using the MaxPass for the first time, and hopefully you can share them for yourself or anybody that you know that's going to the Disneyland Resort. Now, I just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about whether financially it makes sense and whether it's worth it for you to use the MaxPass. And I think that it really just comes down to you and your family and the preferences that you and your family need. The MaxPass is $10 a day per person. So if, for instance, you are going to use a 3-day hopper pass, it would be an additional $30 to get the MaxPass for your package. Now, the cool thing is that not everybody has to purchase it in one party. So if you have, let's say, a party of 5 and 2 kids are really little and there's really only going to be 3 people that are going to go on the major rides, then you can go ahead and only select the MaxPass on 3 tickets. You don't have to have everybody in your party have them. So that's really nice because you can have the flexibility to kind of have those people that want to do the FastPass rides versus not. Now, it can add up, though, if you are trying to stay for longer periods of time, or you have a larger party who's all interested in riding the fast passes. And so then I would recommend that you just sort of look to see what you and your family need. If you've got a family that loves to do the big rides, or loves to go from ride to ride to ride and not, come up for air, then the MaxPass is a really great option for you. My family, for instance, I've got an 11-year-old, and we tend to bring my 17-year-old niece with me. And they like to do the big rides, and they like to go, morning till night on those rides. So for us, it really makes a lot of sense for us to use and purchase the MaxPasses, and it was totally worth our time. But if you have a family of kids that are younger, or a family that just likes to do a lot more of the traditional attractions, or shows and things of that nature, then this may not be the best option for you, and you may not be able to get your money's worth from it. So for instance, the rides are only applicable on rides that have fast passes, paper passes. So if you were thinking that you might be able to get on rides like Peter Pan or Alice in Wonderland that tend to have exhaustive wait lines as it is, you're not going to be able to get a fast pass for those attractions with the MaxPass either. So if you've got smaller kids or kids that are into like the Fantasyland rides, I'd recommend that you not get the MaxPass unless you have other rides that you also like to go on. So just for reference, there's 10 rides that are available for the MaxPass at Disneyland, and 8 rides at California Adventure. So you really have to or predominantly like a majority of those rides to get the the MaxPass experience to be worth your while. So just bear that in mind. I really think that you should just take some time to think about what you and your family would need, and what would be best, and what you plan to do for the majority of time in the parks. So that's it for today. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that this helped you to make a decision on whether you wanted to have your to purchase the MaxPass and potentially some tips and tricks on how to use it. I do recommend that you try to take some time to look at blogs or YouTubes on what the app experience looks like before you get in the park, so that you can already be somewhat familiar with what you'll see when you get through to your first scan. That way it's not taking away from your trip experience, messing around with your mobile device. So if you can brush up a little bit on the app beforehand, the better. I really hope that this was helpful for you. I do plan to post 2 videos a week on various types of Disney planning, my tips, tricks, Disney throughout the ages, you know, what's right for certain age groups when going to Disneyland, things to consider. I've had the opportunity of going to Disney many, many times. It is our preferred destination in terms of vacations, anywhere from Disney World, Disneyland, and Alani. So I'd just love to share my experience with you all and hopefully help you in your planning journeys. So if there's anything in particular that you would like to see or anything that you have questions on, please make sure to comment below, and I can go ahead and address those in future videos. Also, if you'd like to see my trip that I'm planning, I have a girls' trip planned for next week. If you'd like to see that in film or see how I went about planning that girls' trip, comment below or give me a thumbs up, and I will make sure to make a video on it. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video.